The doorbell rang, and I swear the whole house inhaled at the exact same time. My mother had just set a platter of deviled eggs on the coffee table. Paprika dusted perfectly like she was auditioning for a Southern Living cover. And my dad was half watching the Cowboys game with the volume too loud. The living room smelled like butter, pine needles, and that cinnamon candle my sister buys every year from Bath and Body Works like it's a family tradition. Then I opened the front door and saw a man I'd never met holding a bottle of red wine like it was evidence. He looked right past me into the warm glow of my parents' house, then back at my face. His voice was low, controlled, almost polite, like he was forcing manners through a cracked jaw. "Hi," he said. I'm here for Bianca." Bianca. That name hit me like a plate shattering in slow motion, because Bianca wasn't supposed to have anyone. That was the story. That was the excuse. And she was standing 10 feet behind me in my parents' living room, laughing softly at something my boyfriend, Luke, had just whispered to her, like they were sharing a private channel inside a public room. I turned my head and saw her freeze. Her smile didn't fade. It collapsed, like someone cut the string. Luke stood up so fast he bumped the edge of the coffee table and his beer bottle wobbled, somehow staying upright by a miracle. My sister, Janelle, had her phone out already. She always captures memories, which is her nicer way of saying she records family chaos for later. My mom's hands hovered over a stack of Christmas plates she'd bought at Target last week. Her face was still friendly, but her eyes narrowed like she'd sensed a storm without knowing why. The man swallowed once. He didn't look at Bianca. Not yet. He looked at me. "Are you the one who messaged me?" he asked. "You're Rachel?" Not my real name. The burner account name. My stomach flipped. I nodded anyway, because denial would have been pointless at this stage. "Yes," I said quietly. I'm the person who reached out." Luke's face drained. He knew immediately what this was, because I wasn't the type to bring strangers to Christmas. I was 59 years old. Predictable. Tidy. The kind of woman who labels leftovers and pays bills 2 weeks early. I liked holidays the same way I liked routine checkups. Calm, scheduled, no surprises. This was not calm. This was a courtroom with wrapping paper. The man finally exhaled through his nose like he'd been holding himself together on the drive over. "Okay," he said. "Then tell me the truth. Right now. In front of everyone." My mother blinked. "Honey, what truth?" Bianca's voice came out thin. Grayson." My mother's eyebrows lifted. "That's your fiancé's name, isn't it?" Bianca didn't answer. "And Luke. Sweet, charming Luke. The guy who'd helped my dad hang Christmas lights last weekend and joked about the ladder like he was part of the family. He opened his mouth and said the first thing he always said when cornered. Everybody just needs to be mature. I felt something inside me go still, because that word had been his weapon for weeks. Mature. As if maturity meant swallowing disrespect with a smile. As if fairness didn't matter if you said it nicely. As if integrity was optional when you wrapped it in good intentions. I stepped back into my parents' house and held the door wider. "Come in," I told Grayson. And as he crossed the threshold, I realized the small twist I'd been ignoring all month was true. Luke didn't invite Bianca for her. He invited her for him. And now the bigger truth was about to sit down at my family's table and pass the mashed potatoes like it belonged there. People think chaos starts with yelling. It doesn't. It starts with silence so thick you can hear the refrigerator hum and the clock ticking over the fireplace like it's counting down to something no one volunteered for. My mom cleared her throat. "Why don't we all just sit down for a second?" she said, already reaching for napkins like paper could absorb what was happening. Luke didn't sit. Neither did Bianca. Grayson stayed standing near the door, shoulders tight, hands wrapped around the neck of the wine bottle like he needed something solid to hold on to. His eyes kept flicking between Bianca and Luke, not angry yet, just recalibrating, like a man realizing the map he'd been using was wrong. "I was told Bianca was spending Christmas alone," he said carefully, "that she didn't have family nearby." That was the story Luke sold everyone. He'd told my mom the same thing on the phone 2 weeks earlier. Said it gently, kindly. Said it like he was doing a good deed. Bianca shook her head too fast. "I never said that." Luke turned toward her, startled. "You said things were hard." "I said work was hard," she snapped back. "I never said I was alone. I never said we were broken up." That was the twist. Not the big one, not yet. but enough to make the room tilt. Grayson blinked. Once. Twice. You told me you were going to a coworker's house, he said. You said it was casual. You said Luke was basically family. Luke finally found his voice. Okay, hold on. This is getting blown way out of proportion. My dad muttered from the recliner. Son, you might want to stop talking. Luke ignored him. We're all adults here. Nobody cheated. Nobody crossed any lines. That was when I felt it, the shift. Because for weeks, I'd been wondering if I was overreacting. If I was imagining things. If my discomfort meant I was insecure. But standing there, watching Bianca and Grayson realize they'd been given two completely different versions of the same story, I understood something clearly for the first time. Luke hadn't lied once. He'd lied consistently. And consistency is not confusion. It's strategy. I looked at Grayson and said calmly, before you decide what this is, there's something you should know. The room leaned in. And that's when I decided I wasn't protecting anyone anymore. Not feelings, not reputations, not Christmas. Just the truth. I didn't raise my voice when I spoke. That surprised even me. There are messages, I said, between Luke and Bianca, months' worth. My mom sat down hard on the edge of the dining chair like her knees had suddenly given out. My dad muted the TV completely this time. The house went quiet in that way where everyone's pretending they're calm, but nobody's breathing normally. Luke laughed. Not a real laugh. The kind people use when they think confidence will scare the truth back into hiding. Seriously? He said. You went through my phone? I nodded. Yes. Bianca turned toward him sharply. You told her I was just a friend. You are. Luke shot back. That's all this ever was. Grayson finally looked at Bianca then. Not angry. Not yelling. Just deeply focused. Are you saying that's true? He asked. That there's nothing in those messages I should be concerned about? Bianca opened her mouth. Closed it. That was the first real crack. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. My hands weren't shaking anymore. That part had passed days ago, back in my apartment when I realized something was wrong and stopped trying to convince myself otherwise. I'm not guessing, I said. I saved them. Luke stepped toward me. Rachel, don't do this. I met his eyes. You already did. I turned the screen so Grayson could see and began reading. Not everything. Just enough. Messages about missing how easy things used to be. Late-night paragraphs he never wrote to me. Inside jokes that didn't include anyone else. And the one that sucked the air out of the room. I miss what we had. Luke had written. And Bianca's reply. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if we tried harder. My sister sucked in a breath so sharp it almost sounded painful. Oh no. She whispered. Oh, no, no, no. Bianca's face went pale. You told her you missed me? She said to Luke. He stammered. That's not... Context matters. Grayson let out a slow, hollow laugh. Context? He said. You're texting my fiancé about what could have been while I'm planning a seating chart? Luke turned to him, palms out. Man, listen. Nothing physical happened. That's not the standard. My dad said quietly. That's the excuse. Grayson nodded. Exactly. Bianca's composure finally cracked. I didn't start this, she said, voice rising. You reached out first. Luke stared at her. That's not fair. Oh, now fairness matters? She snapped. You told me Rachel was controlling, that she was jealous, that you felt trapped. My mother gasped. He said what? Luke spun toward Bianca. Why would you say that? Because you did, she shot back. You said she wouldn't understand. You said it was easier to talk to me. Grayson closed his eyes briefly, like he needed to reset his nervous system. When he opened them again, his voice was steady, but something in it had hardened. So, let me get this straight. He said, you told me you were going to a coworker's house? You told Luke you were just being supportive, and you let him tell his girlfriend you were alone so you could be invited here. Bianca shook her head. I didn't know he told her that. Luke went rigid. I didn't say you were alone. I raised my phone. You told me you didn't want her spending Christmas by herself. My mom whispered. That's exactly what he told me. Luke's shoulders sagged. The room felt smaller suddenly, like the walls were inching closer to listen. Grayson took a step back, then another. He looked around my parents' living room. The stockings over the fireplace, the framed school photos, the half-eaten cookies on a paper plate. This isn't just messy, he said. This is dishonest. He turned to Bianca. Why didn't you tell me the truth? Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't want to upset you. That's not protection, he said. That's control. Luke stepped forward again. Grayson, don't do this. She was stressed. I was stressed. People lean on familiar people sometimes. Bianca rounded on him. Stop pretending this was noble. You like the attention. That landed. Luke opened his mouth, then closed it. Silence again. Heavy, final. Grayson looked at Bianca for a long moment. Are you in love with him? She hesitated. That was all the answer he needed. We're done, he said. 2 words, calm, clear, no drama. Bianca made a small sound like she'd been punched. You don't mean that. I do, he said. I can't marry someone who lies about where she spends Christmas. He turned toward me. Thank you, he said softly, for telling me. I'm sorry you were pulled into this. My throat tightened. You deserve to know. He nodded once, then walked out the door without another word. Bianca stood frozen for a beat, then grabbed her coat. I need to leave, she whispered. Luke reached for her arm. She yanked it away. Don't call me, she said. You ruined everything. The door closed behind her. And then it was just Luke, standing in the middle of my parents' living room like a man who'd misread every sign. He turned to me, eyes wild. You humiliated me. I felt strangely calm. You humiliated yourself. My mom crossed her arms. My dad didn't look away. You set this up, Luke accused. You ambushed us. No, I said. I invited honesty. You weren't prepared for it. That's cruel, he snapped. I shook my head. Cruel is lying and calling it kindness. He laughed bitterly. So what, you win Christmas? I win clarity, I said, and I'm done. His expression shifted. Done? I'm ending this, I said. I already spoke to a lawyer about the lease. You can stay with your brother. You can't be serious. I am, my sister whispered. Oh, wow. Luke looked around, desperate. No one stepped in. No one defended him. Finally, he grabbed his jacket and left. The door shut softly. Not slammed. Just finished. We still ate dinner. It wasn't festive. It was real. Later that night, lying in my childhood bedroom, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling, I understood the major twist I hadn't seen coming. This wasn't about Bianca. It wasn't even about Luke. It was about the moment I stopped questioning my instincts and started trusting them. And that changed everything. The morning after Christmas, my dad helped me carry boxes out of the apartment I'd shared with Luke. We used his old Ford pickup, the one with the cracked dashboard and the gas gauge that lies unless you tap it twice. Luke wasn't there. He left a note on the counter that said, I never meant to hurt you. I threw it away without opening it. Over the next few weeks, the story settled. The lease ended quietly. The numbers told the truth the way feelings never could. I'd paid most of the rent, most of the groceries, most of the trips. The settlement reflected that. Fair isn't loud. It's accurate. Grayson sent one message later. Just one. I'm glad I found out before the wedding. That was it. No flirting, no drama, just relief. The real twist didn't come with applause or revenge. It came with peace. I stopped waking up second-guessing myself. Stopped shrinking to keep someone comfortable. Stopped mistaking silence for maturity. People my age are told to endure, to smooth things over, to keep the holiday nice. But integrity isn't seasonal, and honesty doesn't ruin families. Lies do. That Christmas didn't break me. It returned me to myself. And that finally felt like enough.